Hello, and welcome to Tarot with Tanya. So 7 cards for 7 days, and we are looking at the week beginning Monday, March 18, and going to Sunday, the 24th. Some pretty big stuff that happens this week. We're getting close to the eclipse season, as some astrologers call it. Actually, they say we're in it. We don't have one this week quite, but I'll talk about that when I get to Sunday's description. And then we have the sun changing signs and so forth. So thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate it. And let me know if you have any questions about what's going on or any requests for something for me to focus on. I will be using the Golden Tarot today, and then we'll finish up with a card from the Crystal Angels Oracle cards. So we begin our week Monday the 18th, and that's right after St. Patrick's Day, if you celebrate that. So we have our moon in Cancer, where, you know, that's its natural home, nurturing. We ended last week on that, and it's carrying over to our Monday, and then we'll end the week with a moon in Libra, and that'll happen later in the afternoon. It will be in Virgo for part of the day, and then by the evening moving into Libra. So Tuesday, the sun enters Aries, and that also brings in our spring equinox, and that is happening at Central Time at 10:06 p.m. So when the sun enters Aries, it's a new burst of energy. I mean, that's the beginning of the wheel of the zodiac, and it really should help us all change directions in a positive way, get some energy back into our lives, and move forward. And of course, the spring equinox is connected to that. It's all about that. It's a great time to, you know, make new plans for your year. Then on Thursday, the 21st, we have the sun sextile Pluto, which is a good, pretty easy kind of aspect. And then we have Venus conjunct Saturn, and those are different energies. So we want to be using our authority without any force, being mindful of other people's needs. We want to hold our ground, but be considerate. Relationships might be tested. That's more of the Venus conjunct Saturn stuff. Venus is all about the relationships. Saturn is a taskmaster, very practical, likes to get things done. So some things in relationships might need to be reevaluated, and if there's a good connection, that relationship can get even stronger. Saturn can bring in that strength. And that's Thursday. Friday, Mars enters Pisces. Now, this is a little bit different energy. I talked about the sun going into Aries. Mars rules Aries, and it's our planet of masculine energy, of forcefulness, getting things done again, with a lot of energy and activity. But when it goes in to Pisces, we're going to assert ourselves with a lot more compassion and sensitivity. That's the Pisces part. So it's a very good time to maybe volunteer in some way, take care of animals, other people. And then we might also be less energetic because Mars will be in a place that's watery, and Mars is fiery. So it's not a naturally comfortable place. So we might be more in the dreamy side. And then finally on Sunday, the 24th, we have Venus sextile Jupiter. As I mentioned before, sextiles are nice energies. So we may feel warm, serene, patient, optimistic, all those nice things. And it's a good day for a social or an artistic or some kind of a cultural event. It's good for gifting. It's good for our prosperity. So that's a really nice way to have that Sunday. And then late that night, early into Monday, is when that eclipse comes on the 25th. So in my next video, I will talk more about that. In terms of our cards for the week, we start off heavy on the swords, and then we end up on the more feminine energies toward the end of the week. We have just one major of that time, but it is a significant one. And it kind of makes sense given, what's going on this week with that major that pops up. So, as I mentioned, it's the Golden Tarot, and we begin our Monday with the Six of Swords. Swords representing air energy. This is a kind of movement, a transition. You can see our boat person is rowing what looks like a woman and a child, potentially into smoother waters. That's often an association with this. I like the Thoth deck's view of it too. It's the card they call Science. And there's just a good view of things, so there's a kind of clarity there. And then on our Tuesday, we get the Ten of Swords. And I had one friend I used to do cards with who just almost wanted to take this one out of the deck. It just gave her the willies. But I see it also as a card that, yes, it can signify something painful. It is mental, though, because, again, it's sword, so it's on our mind. It's air. It's not substantial. Might feel that way, but, it's a good place to pull back the ego. And it is transition. It is moving from the old into the new. So this is where going with the sun into Aries and having those spring equinox, it feels like letting go of the old, what isn't working for us anymore, and moving into the new. That's even more emphasized when we get to our Wednesday. As I said, we start off heavy with the swords this week, and here we get to the Knight of Swords. So that makes it a double masculine, because the Knight is already a masculine. And then, you add the swords, an air element considered masculine as well. And this one can bring in a really fresh but cutting energy. I mean, sometimes that's exactly what we need to clear away the old. You can, see that sort of motion of the sword raised overhead, getting ready to strike. If you look closely, there's a dragon. I mean, this is, based on St. George and the Dragon myth here. And so it can be a slaying of dragons. Again, of getting rid of false ideas. The thing we want to be a little bit mindful about is doing that in a way that is not burning bridges, let's say, cutting off ties, things that, we don't want to damage or cut off things that we still want to retain, relationships, connections, things like that. Thursday is when we get our one and only major for the week, and it is the Fool, and I just feel like that is perfect. Here we have a character, an archetype, prevalent, as far as I know, in every culture. I mean, it's going to be depicted differently, but here we have this person wearing a kind of dress costume with the the drum, and then the little dog. Behind it is a sort of tapestry, maybe a curtain, something like that, but I feel like that's sort of signifying it's botanical, like the field of being. And so this is a new energy emerging out of that field of being. So with that equinox and the sun moving into Aries, perfect time to let go of old patterns. And we've had a lot of that sword energy to help us with that. Monday to see direction, Tuesday to let something go, Wednesday to really clear that out, and then Thursday begin again. Friday, that seems to lead us into a kind of prosperity. It's a disc card or an earth energy, pentacles. You might know it by different names, but it is the earth. And, sixes to me tend to be very positive numbers. And this is our second six for the week. So there's that connection to the lovers, to communion, communication, being close to someone. Here, the idea is that this person has enough to share. There's a little balance, a little scale being held here. It can be, if there's a dark side to it, a little bit on the materialistic side, but you know, we want to use that that Jupiter and Jupiter and Venus energy that's coming in toward the end of the week to use that energy well. Both of those are very. Let's see. I'm going to double check that because I'm just feeling, yeah, I was right. It is Venus and Jupiter. So they're both benefic planets. They have a lot of good to give us. When we get to our Saturday, we have the King of Cups. And he appeared last week in a different deck on our Sunday, I believe. So here is the divine masculine. It is in its best form, loving, compassionate, still has a male energy, in a male way potentially of expressing it, a masculine I should say, not male, but a masculine energy as well. But then there's a very strong feminine. You see the chalice in front of our king and all of that unconscious, represented by the waters behind him. So very intuitive, getting into what our unconscious might have to say, bringing something up to the surface, and then being able to express it, because kings can do that too. So it can be very poetic, you know, that kind of energy as well. So it can be a person showing up in life or some energy that you are expressing yourself as well. We end our week with the Five of Cups, and this always, you know, I mean, it's obviously a king as well, but not, you know, taking the place of a king in one of the suits, but it is another cup. So what's going on here? Well, this king definitely looks disappointed. You have this other figure, probably some kind of advisor, maybe a spiritual advisor with the hand on the shoulder. It looks like there's consolation going on. And when we look toward the floor, we see the cups, and we have two of them that are spilled, maybe with wine, blood, we don't know. There's some sort of red liquid coming out. But we still have three that are standing. Often it's the other way around. You'll have three down and two standing. But the Two and the Three of Cups both are very positive cards. They can signify connections with others in terms of potential like contracts in the Two of Cups, parties, celebrations, harmony, creativity in the Three. So the way that I want to read this is that, yes, we may have our disappointments, but what is working? What do we have to be grateful about? What can we still be happy about? And, you know, the fives are all connected to the Hierophant. So for me, that also says that this is just one of those human lessons. And, you know, often our first response is an ego response, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, that's who we are. But then once we can get away from that, we might find that things are looking actually quite a bit better than we thought. So strong energy in the cards this week for letting go of the old, clearing out some space, planting dreams from the new, and letting, you know, new visions and harvest, or things to harvest, eventually come in. So we will finish with a Crystal Angel Oracle card, and this one is Angel Light. So there's your visual, and it is subtitled Spiritual or Religious Community. Have you been feeling lonely? This card comes to you as guidance to connect with like-minded people in a spiritual setting. Perhaps you've received the inner call to attend some kind of church, temple, spiritual space, to find a spiritual group aligned with your beliefs. This card confirms that this is true divine guidance and encourages you to take the needed action steps. You have been receiving guidance about your spiritual path, including intuitive ideas. There's our King of Cups again, about which communal settings would provide support and friendship. And, you know, we all need that. Spiritual groups are also powerful because of the energy of joint prayer, meditation, which lifts everyone up. In these contexts, you are likely to receive healing insights and visions. Making friends with people who share your spiritual beliefs offers you a feeling of safety where you can easily be yourself in social settings. Studies also show that having a spiritual community is correlated with increased health and longevity. Now it's time for you to take the next step and attend the spiritual meetings as you are guided. So, beloveds, I'm wishing you the best week possible. I hope you get out and somehow celebrate the sun moving into Aries and the equinox. Please consider sharing, liking, and subscribing, and reaching out if you would like a personal reading. Information will be below and at the end of the video. I'll see you next week.